Hi, hello students. Good evening, everyone. I hope all are doing well. Welcome to Sri Chaitanya Educational Institutions. As we already know about the score examination, right? Sri Chaitanya Academy is providing an opportunity for the national level of examination. It will be applicable for the students from grade 3 to 12. The exam will be conducting on September 28 and October 12. So we need to register for the examination before September 26. So the link will be already provided in the description. You need to register for the examination before September 26. So let us see what is the exact meaning of score examination. As you can see over here, this is conducted by the Sri Chaitanya Academy. It is national level scholarship examination for the students from grade 3 to 12. So depending upon the centers, they will be having online exam as well as the offline examination. You can attend the offline examination in the Sri Chaitanya offline centers. And what is our aim by score examination is that we need to identify and reward the academic talent. So it is a good opportunity for you. So if you are not registering for the examination yet, just register now. Link will be provided in the description. Before September 26, you need to register for the examination. So here in this session, we are going to discuss, we have already discussed one previous year question for the grade 9. So here we are going to the second part of the paper discussion for the score examination for grade 9. Before going to the question, I'm just explaining the exam pattern as we already know about that. So what is exam pattern for the score examination? It will be around, it's like a foundation test. Exam duration is 120 minutes, right? 120 minutes is exam duration. And the question type will be multiple choice question, which is included. The number of questions will be included here. Mental ability will be 25 questions. Maths will be 20 questions. And physics will be 15 questions. Chemistry again 15 questions. Biology is 15 questions. So including all the three subjects in the science, we will be getting total 45 questions, right? So what about the chemistry syllabus? We are going to discuss about the chemistry questions for the grade 9. We have already mentioned the last class also, last paper discussion also. It's in the case of chemistry, it's our chapters, matter in our surrounding, our first chapter in the CBSE board. Then, is matter around us pure? This is the second chapter. And the last one, atoms and molecules. These three important chapters are very important for the score examination. So based on these three chapters, we are going to discuss some of the questions which is already repeated in the score examination. So let's quickly start our first question. Okay, here is our first question. First question is from the atoms and molecules, right? Read the question carefully. An element P forms an oxide with formula PO. The formula of its sulfate and phosphate will be respectively. Read the question carefully. The formula for the oxide of one element P is given here. So from that you can identify the valency of those elements. Then from that we can identify the chemical formula of corresponding sulfate as well as the phosphate. So what will be the answer for this question? Take your own time. So I hope you got the answer as option D. So how we can solve this problem? So this is our first compound, right? First compound with the formula PO. So as we already know, in order to write down the chemical formula of any of the compound, what we need to do? We need to identify the valencies and crisscross the valencies. So for example, as we already know for the case of oxygen, their valency will be 2, right? Their valency will be 2. Then again in the case of, if we are crisscrossing here, it will be forming P2O2, which means it is understood that the compound, generally the compound will be having the formula P2O2, or it is simplified as PO, right? PO, which means that from the formula of oxide of this element, we can identify that this element P will be having the valency of 2. I hope you understand the point. Now, how we can find out the formula of sulfate, right? So, sulfate means first element P, sulfate means SO4. Again, if you are taking the valencies, P will be having valency 2 here, SO4 is having valency 2 here. Crisscrossing the valencies, you will get the chemical formula, right? Chemical formula is equal to P2SO4 twice, or simply it will be forming PSO4, right? So this will be the chemical formula of the sulfate of this metal. Then what about the case of phosphate? Phosphate means P will be having 2 over here. Phosphate means PO4 3 minus, right? Valency will be 3 here. Crisscross the valencies, you will be getting P3, PO4 twice. So this will be the chemical formula of the corresponding phosphate. So what will be our correct answer? PSO4 and P3PO4 twice will be the correct answer for the formula of sulfate and phosphate of the metal P. I hope you understand. Now we are moving to the second question. Here is the second question. Which of the following have least interatomic spacing? As we already know, there will be 4 or 5 different liquid phases. I mean liquid, solid, gases and phases are there. So as compared to here, in the case of which phase, they will be having very least interatomic spaces, which means that atoms are closely packed in which of the phase given here, whether it is solid state, liquid state or gaseous state or the plasma state. So as we already know, right, in the case of solid substance, if you are taking a particular atom, this will be considered as a solid state. So the atoms will be closely packed here, right? So the interatomic space will be very less over here. So what will be our correct answer? Our correct answer will be option A, because in the case of solid phase, all the atoms are closely packed, which means they will be having very least interatomic space. Now we are moving to the next question. The question is based on our first chapter. If the humidity in the air increase, the rate of evaporation will be, whether it is decreases, whether it is increases or remains same. That will be our question. As we already know what is the term of evaporation, how they are affecting, what is the factors affecting the evaporation. So one of the factors affecting the evaporation is the humidity. So how it is connected with the rate of evaporation? That's our question. So again, it will be decreases, right? As the humidity increases, the rate of evaporation will be decreases. So that we already know, it will be inversely proportional relationship there, right? So option A is the correct answer. Now we are moving to the next question. So this is very important. Depending upon the process, we need to match the column, right? In the case of column 1, they have given some of the processes. In the case of column 2, they have given the name of the particular process. So read the question carefully. There is no options provided here. In the case of score examination paper, you will be getting options option wise. So how it is connected? If I'm asking about the case of formation of clouds, right? Formation of clouds is the part of condensation reaction, right? Part of condensation reaction. So one will goes with R here. Then what about the case of formation of ice from water? Ice means solid phase, right? It will be solid phase. Water means liquid phase. So liquid to what? I mean liquid to solid means what will be the process? Yes, it is a solidification, right? Because liquid water is converted to solid means solidification is the process. Then drying of wet cloths. As we already know, this is evaporation. So 3 will goes with S over here. The last one, naphthalene balls or the moth balls, right? These are also known as moth balls. It will be undergoing the process of sublimation. So 4 will goes with Q over here. So what will be the correct answer? 1 R, 2 P, 3 S and 4 Q. That will be the correct answer for this question. I hope you understand. Here is our next question. This is a little bit a numerical problem based on the chapter atoms and molecules. Read the question carefully. The number of aluminium ions in 0.055 gram of aluminium oxide. First, you need to identify the chemical formula of the aluminium oxide. Then identify the number of ions over there. Read the question carefully. It is asking about the case of number of aluminium ions. So what is the chemical formula of aluminium oxide? It will be Al2O3, right? So if it is dissociating, it will be forming 2Al3 plus ion. So from that, we need to identify the number of moles of aluminium. Number of moles of aluminium oxide. So how we can find out the number of moles? So if you are comparing the molecular weight of the aluminium oxide, it will be getting 102 gram, right? 102 gram per mole. So this will be the number of moles here. Then as we already know, for 1 mole of substance, they will be containing Avogadro number of particles, right? So this is the number of moles of Al2O3. If you want to find out the number of aluminium ions, what we need to do here? First, we need to identify the number of aluminium ions in 1 mole of Al2O3, that is equal to 2. So I multiply with 2 here. Then, in case of 1 mole of substance, it will be containing Avogadro number of particles. If I am asking about the ions, it will be containing Avogadro number of particles here. So 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 into number of moles. You will be getting a number over here. I will just write down here 0.055 divided by 102. Just calculate by yourself. Then you will get the correct answer is around option D, right? 6.48 into 10 to the power 20. So that will be the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer. What is the first step? From the question, you need to identify the chemical formula of the aluminum oxide. Then find out the number of moles of the substance by dividing the given mass divided by the molecular mass of the Al2O3. Then from that, you need to identify the number of aluminum ions. In the case of 1 mole of Al2O3, they will be containing 2 aluminum ions, right? So we will be multiplying with the Avogadro number into the given number of moles. So you will get the correct answer is around 6.48 into 10 to the power 20. Now we are moving to our next question. Very easy question. They're just asking about the valences of different ions here. Which of the following statements are incorrect? So in the case of score examination paper, out of 15 questions, 5 questions will be multiple. You will be getting more than one answer for the question. So here maybe you will be getting more than one answer for the question. So read the question carefully. Which of the following statements are incorrect? So 1, 2, 4, right? So if I'm asking about the case of first one, dichromate ion, right? What is the dichromate ion? It will Cr2O7 2 minus, right? Cr2O7 2 minus is a dichromate ion. So this is divalent, right? Divalent and a negative ion. This is not a positive ion. So this is again the false statement. Then what about the case of second case? Barium ion is trivalent and positive. What about the case of barium ion? It is Ba2 plus, right? Ba2 plus means this is the divalent ion and it is a positive ion. So this is again incorrect, right? This is again false here. What about this third one? The solid sulfur is a polyatomic molecule. We have already studied about the atomicity of different molecules, right? So first one is the example for the solid sulfur. So if I'm asking about the case of solid sulfur, how it is representing? It is represented as S8, right? Which is, it is an octatom. It will be containing 8 atoms. So atomicity is equal to 8 over here. So solid sulfur is a polyatomic molecule, means this is a true statement. What about the case of last one? Ammonium ion is divalent and positive. So you need to identify the chemical formula of the ammonium ions, then identify whether they are divalent or not. So if I'm asking about the case of ammonium ion, as we already know, this is NH4 plus, right? NH4 plus means this is an monovalent because they have only one charge over here. This is the monovalent positive ion. So this is again false statement. So according to our question, what are the wrong statements here? What are the incorrect statements here? That is 1, 2 and 4. I hope it is clear. Here is the next question. 440 gram of carbon dioxide can be represented as. Some of the options are given here, whether it is 5 gram mole of carbon dioxide, 10 moles of carbon dioxide. Avogadro number of particles of this is 10 to the power 23. Molecules of carbon dioxide 6.023 into 10 to the power 24 molecules of carbon dioxide. 440 gram carbon dioxide, right? So first we need to identify the number of moles over here. So the number of moles of carbon dioxide is equal to given mass, that is 440 gram. What is the molecular weight of carbon dioxide? It will be 44, right? So 440 gram divided by 44 gram, that is equal to 10 moles. So is there any options given here? So 10 moles of carbon dioxide will be the correct answer here. 2 will be the correct answer. Here is the next question. Which of the following materials fall in the category of a pure substance? So while discussing about the case of matter around us pure, we have already studied that there will be pure substance as well as the mixtures will be there. So according to the knowledge of about the pure substance, we need to give the answer for this question. Options are provided here: mercury, brick, wood and air. So which one will be the pure substance? So in the case of pure substance, we have already studied whether it will be element or the compound, right? So according to our idea, we know that mercury will be the only one pure substance over here. It will be containing only mercury atoms or molecules given here. So this is an example of element here. As compared to other options, it will be the mixtures, right? They are not considered as a pure substance. Now we are moving to the next question. Which of the following will show Tyndall effect? So we have already studied, right? Tyndall effect means there will be a scattering of light happening. If you are taking any of these solutions, which one is showing the Tyndall effect? Maybe you will get more than one answers. So what are the answer? Milk and the star solution. These are the colloidal particles. They can easily scatter the light when we are passing through the light. So this is known as the Tyndall effect. So option B and D are the correct answers here. I hope you understand. Now we are moving to the next question. The liquid to gas and gas to liquid changes are called. What do you mean by the liquid to gas and the gas to liquid changes? Simple term, right? We have already studied what is the phase transitions. If you're changing any of the phase, there will be specific name for the process, right? So if I'm asking about the case of liquid to gas, you can just think about the example for the water to water vapor, right? What process it is known as? So this process is known as the vaporization. Then what about the case of next one? Gas to liquid, right? Gas to liquid means this reverse process, right? Water vapor to water means it is known as a condensation, right? So option A will be the correct answer. The phase transition is also very important. We have already studied. Now here is our next question. As we already know the process of sublimation, right? What is happening in the case of sublimation? Which of the following does not undergo sublimation, or which one of the following is not a sublimate? So those substances which are showing the sublimation are commonly known as a sublimates, right? So which one of the following is not a sublimate? That's our another question. So what is the meaning of process of sublimation? The solid substance is directly moving to the gaseous phase without moving to the liquid phase, right? So this process is known as the sublimation. So as we already know in the case of these examples, camphor, iodine, ammonium chloride, and one more example is the naphthalene, right? These are the one which is undergoing sublimation process. So otherwise these are known as the sublimates, right? So ammonium chloride, naphthalene, iodine and camphor which is undergoing the sublimation. The correct answer will be silica here because silica does not undergo sublimation process, right? So option B is the correct answer. Now we are moving to the next question. Okay, by the starting of the chapter we have already studied what is the chemical change and the physical change, right? So here two processes are given. One is the cooking of food and another one is the digestion of food. Whether these are physical processes or chemical processes, that is our question. Take your own time. Identify whether these processes are chemical processes or the physical process. Yes, both of them are chemical processes, right? So option B is the correct answer. Both of them are chemical processes, right? Because what is the meaning of chemical process? They are permanent, right? They will be producing new products. New products are forming here as a part of the chemical process. So as we already know in the case of digestion of food as well as the cooking of food, the new products are forming. So this is the chemical process. This is not reversible, right? These are permanent. So option B is the correct answer. So the difference between chemical process or chemical change and the physical change is very important in your examination point of view. Now here is the next question. What will be the corresponding temperature in degrees centigrade for 300 Kelvin? We have already discussed about the temperature conversion, right? There will be three parameters, three units for the temperature. One is the degree centigrade, degree Fahrenheit and the Kelvin scale, right? Kelvin scale is the SI unit of the temperature here. Here the temperature at 300 Kelvin is given here. We need to identify the same temperature in the degree centigrade. So how we can convert the Kelvin scale into degree centigrade? So as we already know, right? Kelvin scale is equal to, if I'm taking Kelvin scale is equal to temperature in Kelvin scale, that is equal to temperature in degree centigrade plus 273, right? So here it is already given, it is 300 Kelvin. So 300 Kelvin means degrees in temperature in degree centigrade plus 273, or if you are taking the temperature in degree centigrade, you will be getting the answer is around 300 minus 273, that is equal to 27 degrees Celsius or degree centigrade. Is there any options? Yes, option C is the correct answer, right? So option C is the correct answer, 27 degrees Celsius, which means the temperature in Kelvin can be converted by adding 273 to the degree centigrade. So you will get the correct answer here as 27 degrees centigrade or the degree Celsius. So this is also very important. Okay, this is another question from the atoms and molecules. We have already studied the concept of moles, right? So the ratio of molecules present in 6.6 gram of carbon dioxide and 3.2 gram of sulfur dioxide. First, identify the number of moles. So if I'm asking about these are number of moles, right? Number of moles of 6.6 gram of carbon dioxide, it will be equal to 6.6 divided by, what is the molecular weight of carbon dioxide is 44, right? 6.6 by 44. Then if you are multiplying, this is the number of moles. If you are multiplying with the Avogadro number, you will be getting the number of molecules, right? So if I multiply with the 6.022 into 10 to the power 23, you will be getting the answer is around 9.031 something. Just try by yourself. It will be around 10 to the power 22. This is the number of molecules in 6.6 gram of the carbon dioxide. Similarly, if you are finding the number of molecules, (3.2 gram of the sulfur dioxide, it will be forming 3.2 divided by, what is the molecular weight of sulfur dioxide here? It will be 32, right? 32 plus 32 again 64. 64 into Avogadro number 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. You will be getting the answer is around 3 point something. Almost 10 to the power 22. If you are taking the ratio of these molecules, you will be getting the answer is around 9 by 3, that is around 3:1, right? So 3:1 will be the correct answer. The ratio will be equal to this is not the exact answer, just try by yourself. This is 10 to the power 22, this is 10 to the power 22, so this will be almost equal to 3:1, right? So option C will be the correct answer here. This is the method. First, we need to identify the number of molecules. Number of moles multiply with the Avogadro number will be the number of molecules. So for the 6.6 gram of carbon dioxide, it will be around 9 into 10 to the power 22. And for the 3.2 gram of the sulfur dioxide, it will be around 3 into 10 to the power 22. So if you are taking the ratio here, you will be getting the answer is around 3:1. Here is our last question. If the formula of a sulfate of a metal M is M2SO4 trice, what is the formula of the phosphate of the metal M will be? Same question we have already discussed for the first question. So from the chemical formula of the sulfate, you can identify the valency of the metal M, right? So from that, you can identify the chemical formula of phosphate of the same metal M. So if I'm writing about the case of M2SO4 trice, right? M2SO4 trice, as we already know, the chemical formula is written by crisscrossing the valencies, right? So from that, you can say that the metal will be having the valency of 3, right? Sulfate will be having the valency of 2 and metal will be having the valency of 3. So I'm taking here, it is 3. Then what about the case of phosphate? Phosphate means PO4, it is again having valency 3. If you are crisscrossing the valencies, you will be getting the chemical formula as M3P of 4 thrice, right? M3P of 4 thrice. Or by simplifying, you will be getting the answer. I'm just dividing with 3. You will be getting the answer MP of 4. So what will be our correct answer? Option D will be the correct answer. So I hope you understand. This was the last question from the previous year paper discussion for the score examination for grade 9. So there is again reminder about the score examination. As we already know, the exam will be conducted on the September 28 for the students from grade 3 to 12. And our aim is to identify the students with higher, glorified students, right? Giving rewards to these students. Then I'm repeating again, for the grade 9 students, you need to focus those 3 chapters, right? Atoms and molecules, matter around us pure, and matter in our surroundings. That is very important. Then again, the registration will be free at the score.com here. So you need to register for the examination before September 26. Again, reminder for the exam date. Exam date will be September 28 and October 12. First phase will be conducting on the September 28. September 26 is the last date for the registration. Link will be provided in the description. You need to register for the examination before September 26. I hope you guys enjoyed the session. If you really like the session, hit the like button, share this particular session to your friends, and subscribe our channel. If you need more updates for the score examination, keep connect with our channel, Sri Chaitanya Educational Institutions. So thank you so much, all of you. Bye-bye.